Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle. Today we have with us One-Click Lindsey, who is the founder of trafficandleads.com. Welcome to the program, Lindsey.
Mike, it's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite.
So I need to ask, and I know you strategically have your little intro moniker as One-Click Lindsey, so that people say, what's a One-Click Lindsey?
What is a? How about who is? But yes, and first of all, I call myself One-Click Lindsey because it's so much easier to remember than my name, Lindsey Anderson. And so once I started going by One-Click Lindsey, it seemed like so many more people knew me. So that was awesome. But why One-Click? Because at trafficandleads.com, we do a lot of funnel marketing. So that's like driving traffic to a website and grabbing someone's email and then converting that email into a nice, juicy client for my customers. And so I was next door to a chiropractor when we had our office, and I convinced him to do some business with my company. And that may have been a mistake because I would walk into work with him at the same time every single day. And if you know anything about funnel and online leads generation, it can take a little time before things start working and cooking. So you have to make a lot of changes, do some A/B testing and stuff. So we happened to be, like, he had given me money to do this work for him, and I gave him all of the, hey, it's going to take, 3 to 6 months to make the magic work. Like, just be patient. Yeah. But because we were walking to work at the same time every day, he would always ask me, well, how's it going? And where's my ROI? And what's this and what's that? Well, long story short, we finally made some final changes to his funnel, and about 20 leads came in overnight. And so when we walked in the next day, he said, back up. I did say to the doctor, I just kept saying, hey, if we can get the people to make that one click on your ad and that one click on your landing page, if only we can get them to make that one click, we just have to convince them to make that click on your site to get into your marketing funnel, then we can make them clients. And I must have said that to him like 300 times. So finally, when it started to work, we walked into work that day and he was like, well, if it isn't One-Click Lindsey. And I thought, yeah, I like that. I think
hey,
I'll go with
you.
That. Yes.
That's cool. Well, and that really is a really interesting mindset concept, which is, so many times you read in marketing courses or copywriting, you want to have that email subject line compelling enough to get them to open the email. And then the first part of the email just compelling enough to get them to read to the next paragraph. And if you do that, then you're drawing them in. So that first click really is something that it starts that momentum and that domino effect, right?
Yes, and it's like they have finally, when they click and they get onto your email list, like they've, it's almost like you've caught a fish, because then you can do so much more through Facebook ads and, retargeting and emails and like everything, that if we can just get them to do that, we can I'll use the word manipulate them to do even more, right?
Yeah, not manipulate, but bring to their attention, right? Make them aware of the needs that they didn't even know that they had. But if they knew they had the need and the solution, then boy, wouldn't their life and business be that much better?
There you go. Yes.
All of that. So what are some things that you would recommend, like when you're talking to someone new and they say, well, of course I need to improve my business. I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried the Facebook ads, it didn't work. I've tried whatever, landing pages, funnels, and it didn't work. What is the thing that you say to them that would make them at least give you a shot at like a comparison?
Well, of course, so Facebook ads are like hot right now, and there's so many ways to do it right, but there's so many ways that people do it wrong. So I definitely always like to review what they've done in the past, and usually like the sore spots will come up, and it'll be like, yeah, that's why it's not working. But quite frankly, Mike, what I teach and what we do at trafficandleads.com, my favorite type of of inbound marketing is more of a longer-term game, a long-term marketing plan, and that's creating really great content, sharing that with people. Once you give them a ton of content, getting them to go to a landing page, getting their email, giving them some more awesome content before you even ask them anything, and doing that really consistently for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And so I think the number one reason why people fail at good online marketing is that they're not consistent. They're looking for really quick wins or that $40,000 launch, which most people can't pull off because they don't have the foundation in place, which is really great content, a really decent, irresistible offer, and some strong email marketing.
I agree with all of that. That's the world that I live in, and that's great. But I know I've heard this before, and so what is your response? All of that presupposes that someone is engaged enough every single step of the way through to get to the end of all that to finally push that buy button. So what about the people that are so the prospects that are so distracted, busy, just give me the deal, don't give me the sales spiel, just what's up? And in the sense that they enter into the funnel, the landing page, and they get that, trust trigger, whatever that thing that you want to give them. But how do you know, or how do you make sure that that prospect is going to open up every email to get, like, what if the content you feel is great that's going to educate them is not great enough, and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to open up any more of those emails, and you don't even get to the point where you get to your pitch?
Fair enough. And what I'm talking about is more, and so what we do when we bring people in, we actually take them through a technique that I call the click technique. And that is literally putting out a blog post once a week and a video once a week on Facebook and other social media. And when they come to your website to view more, then you grab their email address. And then once a week, you're sending people a review, I'm going to call it a newsletter, although that's super boring, but it's basically a review of the content you did, and you send that out consistently. You make that content consistently every week. So let me just give you an example of this in practice. So I don't have an offer right now, but I send my review email every week of the video I did and the blog post I did. And just this week, I sent it out. It was nothing special. It was literally my podcast where I interviewed Perry Marshall and a blog post I did on webinars. And literally 4 people replied to my mass email that said, hey, I need to make an appointment with you. I really need your help. So buyers are going to buy when they're ready, not when you're ready. And so the whole point of this, of having a really strong foundation in online marketing is you are consistently out there because you don't know when they're ready to buy. You're consistently emailing. I'm not talking about these hey, I'll send you an email tomorrow and then I'll send you another email in 3 days. I'm not talking about that. The kind of online marketing that works till you can get to those more advanced techniques are literally just create good content, email consistently, and just keep with it. It's not going to work after a month, but right now, in my business and my clients' businesses, they're not experiencing this leads roller coaster where they get a whole bunch of people coming in because they've done their marketing and they've done their email marketing, and then they're too busy to not email anymore, and then they get all the work done and they're like, I don't have anyone to service. So then they start again, and it's this whole roller coaster. But if you literally just drip out content, really good content, and you send that email once a week, people will come to you, your current clients will stay close to you, and these are the foundations of online marketing that I think so many people are missing because they're so interested in launches and Facebook ads and making $40,000 in a week, which you can do, but you have to have the foundation in place, and that's the most important thing.
It really is, and I think you have to find a way to do it easily. And I was just mentioning I've got a mastermind group that I'm in on Fridays, and I just said this to them today, which is, you find your tool that works for you, and you can't just look at someone online and go, wow, they do X, I better do that, if it doesn't resonate with you. And here's an example. So there's, Facebook is popular. Facebook Lives are popular. But if you're not the kind of person that is going going to whip out a great Facebook Live video consistently, at least whatever frequency per week, month, whatever. But like once a week, you're going to do a Facebook Live, twice a week, 3 times a week, short snippets of good content. Or you know what? I was just reading something the other day in a business book, and this statement really struck me. And here's what it is, and here's how we can apply to our business. Hey, go out there and make today great. If you can't do that on Facebook Live, then that might not be the platform for you. Now, Instagram might be wonderful, and you might hear people, reeling in new business from that. But if it doesn't resonate with you, find something that does. For me, and like you mentioned, you do podcasting, and I've got an interview show, and oh, wow, we're on it right now, and I interviewed Perry Marshall. Well, guess what? If you can do that consistently, or fill in the blank, whatever that it is, that can be repurposed and amplified because that one asset, let's call it. I call them authority positioning assets, because that one asset can be used long term, but it also can be repurposed into blog post, video, whatever the case is, right? So what are your thoughts on helping people come up with that thing that they can do consistently? Because like if you're out of shape and you start a workout program, you should not work out 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, because it won't be consistent.
Yeah, and I think most people are going to know what they're most comfortable with, whether that's, yes, I'm most comfortable writing, or I'm most comfortable with video, or I really like to take pictures, like wherever, like it really depends on their business and their personality. And like I think people naturally gravitate. Like I'm not a huge writer, even though blogging is so important and it's important to my business, so I do it. But like if I could just get by on podcasting all day, I would. And so
okay, well, guess what you should do? You and I'm sure you know this, but I'm just from the outside looking in. You should do your podcast and have someone transcribe the podcast and turn that into your blog post. And now you've done one thing, but that's the two. So there's one way for people to think about that as well.
Yes, and also it's, and then it's made into a video and put up on YouTube. Yep. So all of these things, whatever your strength is, as Mike said, can be turned into every platform. So.
And I would even say this. If you, for instance, I'll just say for me, I can't even spell Instagram. Don't even care about it. It's not where I live. So even though I see people going, this is the best thing since sliced bread, I don't even care about it. So if you don't feel like you can jump in and really make it work, then don't do it. Because and here's a perfect example. I'm not going to mention the person's name because it doesn't matter, but last night I was on both Facebook and LinkedIn, and this person, he's a business coach, posted a question on Facebook. And it was a kind of a random, how some of these random odd questions are, and it gets people thinking and, whatever. So he posted that, and there was, 13, 18 responses. And then I was over on Facebook, and I saw he posted the same thing, crickets. And so It's really interesting that if you know your target audience, you know where they live, where they reside, then you can start going, you know what, I'm going to post these kind of quirky questions on Facebook, but on my LinkedIn, that's where I'm going to post my podcast, episodes or my whatever, because you don't want to be the person that people sees that nobody responds to, right?
That's true. However, may I add, when you're first getting started trying to build an audience and you're first sticking your toe in there, you're not going to get a response. And so that's why I say you have to be consistent, because then you will slowly build responses.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's kind of like the gold miner that quits, one, axe strike from hitting the gold vein. So you don't want to give up too soon, and you don't want to try that thing twice and go, well, that didn't work. Well, I know for me, my podcast and interview show is a wonderful business development tool, but it didn't become that until after 40, 45 interviews. So you can't go 10 in, 20 in and go, wow, that was a bust. What a waste of time. So whatever that thing is, that's a great takeaway, whether it's blogging or podcasting or social media, whatever it is, give it enough chance to work, right?
Yeah, I would say put your head down and say to yourself, I don't care who responds. I don't care if anyone responds to my email marketing or likes anything on Facebook. Put your head down and literally do it for 6 months. It will not take that long, but say I don't care for that long.
So let's say that someone is doing that and they're starting to get some momentum and whatnot. You mentioned sales funnel. I'm familiar with that, but I think a lot of people get intimidated with, like, what should I put on the landing page, and what about my email follow-ups, and how do you feel? Like, you can have the framework of a landing page and a sales funnel, but what do you tell people about the content to put in them?
Well, usually, and if you go to my website, you can actually download an example email. Like after someone opts in, the number one thing you shouldn't do is just like send them the opt-in and never touch base with them again. And so I think a lot of people just need like an example or two, and then they can like create their own content. Or as we were talking about repurposing before, you can go pull content from old blog posts, old videos. And in fact, you want to reference those kind of things in these follow-up email sequences. Say, hey, did you know I run a podcast? Maybe you'd be interested in this episode. Go join me on Twitter. Go do this. Go do that. I'm super popular. Did you see my book? Like, these are the kind of things, along with giving really useful information in those follow-up email sequences that you want to do. So there's examples. There's an example on my website that you can use, and then kind of make it your own. And I think that's where people get stuck, is they just like want an example, a framework.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I think it's like if you get writer's block and then someone goes, well, hey, here's a paragraph or here's a page or two to get you started, and you're like, oh, yeah, and then all of a sudden the floodgates are open. So I think when you can get that head start, that's super helpful.
Yes.
So what are you seeing the biggest mistake when you have a new prospect that says, help, take a look? What are the things that you are seeing that is just the biggest mistakes that people are making?
Yeah, so I'm going to repeat myself again. It's consistency. People do not give this online marketing thing enough time to catch and work. So number one thing is they'll like blog for a couple weeks, and then they'll get no leads, and they'll be like, okay, this doesn't work, when it actually really does if you are consistent with it. So number one, consistency. Number two, I'm still shocked and amazed at how many people don't have an irresistible offer on their website. So 99% of the people who come to your website are not going to call you. And so you have to give them something of value, something really awesome, and get that email address so you can continue to email market to them forever. Like I mentioned with my just this week when I sent out my newsletter, 4 people that have been on my list for 2 to 3 months or more finally emailed and said, hey, let's set up an appointment, right? So you need to have that irresistible offer on your website, and it can't be some garbage irresistible offer. Like, you need to put a lot of thought and feeling into it. You can't just go to Fiverr and have some guy to write a report based on some research he did on Google. Like, give away some company secrets and make it useful and get people to opt in, and then consistently email them. The other things that I see that people are making a mistake on is, even if you're not ready to dive in with Facebook marketing, or that you're going to look at Google Analytics anytime soon because it makes you dizzy, just get your Google Analytics code on all pages of your website. Your web developer can put that on. Like, if he's going to charge you more than $25 to put Google Analytics on your website, then call me and I will do it for $25. And your Facebook Pixel code, like, even if you're not even slightly interested, but maybe in the future you will be, like, let your website start tracking people who visit, how long they've stayed, so we can turn around and analyze the data in Google Analytics, or use that data to build audiences in Facebook. So just get it on there, and then you can forget about it till you're ready.
Yeah, that's huge, and I think here's the other piece that I would add to the concept of consistency. Just get started, right? Les Brown, the motivational speaker, says jump and grow your wings on the way down, and we've heard in the Lean Startup by Eric Ries, MVP, have a minimum viable product. Just get going, get started, and then you can tweak and add, and don't get intimidated that, I need to have a podcast and then repurpose it. No, just do one thing. And then do that consistently, and then add a little bit more a little bit later, and then go, I can do this too. But once you're in the flow of doing that, then adding on those little extra pieces are easier, rather than going, I've got to do these 14 things. I can't do anything.
I couldn't agree more.
And so with that mic drop, let's go ahead and say, how can people learn more and connect with you?
Yes, so you can check out my blogs, my videos. I try to break down online marketing for everybody at oneclicklindsey.com. You can spell that however you want. If you want to know more about the click technique that I was talking about, which is how to make online marketing work for you in very easy ways, you can go visit theclicktechnique.com. It's a free opt-in for a boot camp on how to do that and make online marketing work for you. And then my business is trafficandleads.com.
Awesome. Well, Lindsey, thanks so much for your time. It was wonderful having you on the show.
Been my pleasure.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.